Hello and welcome to another review of Drones Visual. Back in the days, the company Cheerson became a legend by offering a great value drone, the Cheerson CX23, which despite many problems was a great aircraft for the money. After that, Cheerson struggled a bit trying to create an appealing aircraft at a reasonable price. They introduced the Cheerson CX23, which I review here at Drones Visual, and despite being an acceptable drone, it was priced way too high and it never reached the popularity of its older brother, the CX20. Since then, they have mainly produced brush quads with a few exceptions, but nothing that has caught my attention until now. Today, I offer you the exclusive review of Cheerson's latest creation, the Cheerson CX23, or perhaps I should call it the Cheer CX23, because after all, that's what it says on the box. I spotted this aircraft some time ago and I noticed that there was not much information about it online, so I decided to give it a try. So today, I will try to offer you a rather in-depth review rather than just an unboxing, as I assume that many of you will appreciate seeing as much at once. Please bear in mind that I do not have the instructions manual for this drone, so if I seem insecure about some functions, it's because of this. I will continue testing it and I will release other videos as soon as I find more relevant functions that you should know about. So okay, I will start with the unboxing, covering all that comes included with the drone, and then we will cover the main features of the transmitter and the drone, and finally we will go out and put this drone to the test in a flying session. Okay, let's get started with the unboxing then. As soon as we open the main box, we'll find this collection of boxes containing all the accessories that come included with the aircraft. Let's take a look at the first box. As you can see, it contains the tools, and as soon as we open it, we will find a tiny wrench tool, potentially to secure the antennas that go into the transmitter, and then right next to it a screwdriver. By some reason inside the same box I found the spare props. I'm not sure why they're there, but in any case they were in that box. This box over here is not labeled, and let's take a look at what it contains. Inside this box I found this tiny USB cable, which will be used to charge the transmitter, and then next to it I found the micro SD card reader with a micro SD card inside with a capacity of 8 GB, and you will use that card to record your video or photos that you take by using the camera of the aircraft. This box contains the charger for the battery of the aircraft, and as soon as we open it, we can see that the power supply and the charger are basically integrated into one unit. You cannot disconnect them. Here you can see the tiny connectors that will be used to charge the battery, and then in case you're interested about the technical specs of the power supply itself, you can take a look at the label here for more information. This box contains a landing gear, and the landing gear is pretty tiny, yet it's kind of flexible and resistant, so I think it should be able to resist some collisions without breaking, which is good news. The next box contains a tiny FPV transmitter. There's an FPV transmitter screen, included with this aircraft, and as you can see, it's not very big, and it contains here in the front a button to change channels, I guess. Then here on the side we'll have the switch to power on or off the screen, and under there is a tiny connector to charge the FPV screen. The next box contains the transmitter, and when you open the box you'll find that the antennas are detachable, which is pretty good actually, especially if you're planning to transport this transmitter in a tiny little case. You can detach the antennas and place them in a different compartment. Here you can take a look at all the functions that I currently know about the transmitter. I made these labels so you can see what each button does, and I really like the way the transmitter is designed. It's very simple, and all the buttons seem to be rather accessible, and actually if you hold it, it feels very comfortable. The plastic is sort of smooth, yet I think it won't be slippery in case you have sweaty hands, so I think it's properly designed, the transmitter, and the buttons, as I was saying, are pretty accessible. On the rear section you'll find a mount for the tiny FPV screen. You can detach the mount completely if you wish, and you can adjust the angle of the screen using that screw over here. Then, in case you want to use your own FPV screen, I guess, although there's not a lot of space here, but you could potentially place an FPV screen or a smartphone here in case you have a converter that can convert your signal from 5.8 to 2.4. Here on the sides we have some dials. I'm not quite sure what they do. I actually tried them when I was flying outside. I thought they could maybe tilt the camera, but that was not possible. So I'm not sure actually if they have a function. I'll try to find some more information about them a little bit later. Under here, as I was telling you, you can basically charge this transmitter via USB. I think it takes around what, like, I'm not quite sure how long it takes, but it should last for around 80 minutes. As soon as we power on the transmitter, we'll have some information here on the screen. And as you can see, you have battery voltage. In this case, you cannot see it because the aircraft is not connected, but you also have velocity, distance, and all sort of useful information. Let me tell you that there's no LED on the back of the display, so if it's dark, you won't be able to see this information properly. If you press the auto takeoff button, you'll see here some information, so that the coordinates of the quad, then some value for pitch, and then here apparently we have the channel for the FPV signal, then some number, I'm not sure what that number means, and then some version potentially of the firmware. Finally, here we have the aircraft, the tiny Cheerson CX23, and you can see it looks really nice. Actually, it's a little bit different than most of the aircraft that Cheerson has designed, and as you can see, they have opted to invert the rear motors. I'm not sure if I like that a lot, and I'm not sure what would be the purpose of that, but in any case, they have gone for that, and I actually like the design. It's kind of like pointy, and I really like it. If we take a closer look at the front section of the aircraft, we will find a tiny FPV camera with a resolution of 2 megapixels. This camera is capable of recording video at 720p. Now, you can manually adjust the angle of the camera, but keep in mind that you have to do that before flying, because once you're flying, you cannot use the transmitter to adjust that angle, so keep that in mind. The motors, as you can see, they come well protected. These are brushless motors, and if I recall correctly, they are 1306 3300 kV motors, and these are 4-inch props. Under each motor, there is a plastic plate protecting the motor itself, and there are 4 screws securing that plate, as you can see. Right under the FPV camera, you can see a tiny slot for the micro SD card that I showed you before. On the rear section of the drone, you will be able to see this LED light strip, and there are not all the LEDs in this aircraft, so it's probably not very good to fly it in the evening. Removing the battery is pretty easy. Just press here on the side and pull it out, and voila, the battery is out, and you can see the compartment where it goes. This battery has a capacity of 1200 milliamp. It's a 2-cell battery, 7.4 volts, and it should give you a flying time of approximately 15 minutes. To check the status of the battery, you can press this power button here once, and you will see the LEDs turning on. The weight of the battery is approximately 65.7. That's what my scale over here is saying. And for those of you that are looking for a case for this aircraft, you can take a look here at the dimensions, so you get a better idea about the size of the aircraft. And also, to put it into perspective, let me put it here next to the Wingsland S6, which is an aircraft that many of you know, and you can see that this, the Cheerson CX23 is actually very tiny. Take a look at it here next to its big brother, the CX22, and you can see how tiny it is. It's smaller actually than the DJI Spark, yeah, way smaller. Okay, this is the landing gear. Let's take a look at the length here of the landing gear. Yeah, it's 48.4 millimeters, so it's not very big. Placing the landing gear is actually very easy, and there's only one way in which it can be placed, so you have no problems with that. There are no screws or anything like that. You can just basically put it right away in the aircraft, and you'll hear a click sound that will let you know that the landing gear is in place. And to remove it is pretty simple as well. Here on the sides there are a couple of, they're not buttons, they're sort of like a unit here that you have to press in order to remove the landing gear. And here you can see the aircraft with the landing gear and pretty much, yeah, ready to fly, I would say. Let's take a look at the weight of the aircraft with the battery. Yeah, it seems to be around 220. I thought it was a little bit heavier, but the good news is that you don't have to register this fellow in the US because it's below 250 grams. Now when we turn on the aircraft and the FPV screen, you can see here that we actually have an OSD. We have a lot of information here, such as velocity, direction, and artificial horizon, coordinates, number of satellites, and so on. There's a lot of information, perhaps too crowded to some of you, but it's still good to have all this information. And now let me show you how the LED looks like in the absence of light. As you can see, there's only one LED on the rear section, and well, of course, the tiny LEDs in the battery that will also let you know when the aircraft is ready to fly. Okay, so we are outside now, so let's power on the aircraft. I think you could power the transmitter first and then the aircraft, but I'm just gonna go ahead and power the aircraft first and then the transmitter. You'll hear a beeping sound, and immediately as soon as they're paired, well, they're paired already, but as soon as they're connected, you'll see some information on the screen here. And I'm already actually right away getting 11 satellites, which is actually a lot. And I think it took basically less than a minute to get a really nice reception. So let's try now the auto takeoff function. We press the auto takeoff button for a few seconds, and as you can see, the aircraft will start to fly by itself. It's really easy and simple. Actually, beginners are gonna love this. Now I'm flying currently in GPS mode, and there's a little bit of wind here, not a lot, but because this is a very tiny aircraft, you can see that the wind is sort of rocking it a little bit from side to side. Nonetheless, this fellow is keeping his position really well, actually solid like a rock. I'm here walking around it with a camera, and I can tell you that it's keeping its position. Despite that there's a little bit of wind here, there is no problem whatsoever for this aircraft to keep its position. I mean, I'm getting right now, I can see it, around 12 satellites. Pretty good reception over here, and let me tell you that I have done no calibration whatsoever. Of course, I'm over here in China. You probably would need to do some calibration once you get it, and I'm gonna do a video about that later because I don't have information right now on how to do that, but I will show you that in later videos, how to do the calibration. But I'm really happy now with the lock. It's pretty much, you know, staying in the same place without any issues. I'm loving it like that. So basically I can go and do whatever, and the aircraft will stay here in place without any drift whatsoever. So flying now in GPS mode, I'll show you a little bit later how to actually activate the GPS mode, because it's not so obvious how to do it initially. I started to fly initially in altitude mode and it was drifting, and I was like, what's going on? But it's because I did not activate that GPS mode. As you can see over here, I'm pretty much next to it and it stays in place without drifting at all. I'm really loving the GPS lock that I'm getting with this aircraft. Really nice. Now let me show you over here whether you can see the information in the screen here, and let's try now the auto landing function. We press here for a few seconds the auto landing button, and the fellow goes down and bump. Yeah, it pretty much landed. So basically I have confirmed now that the auto takeoff and the auto landing functions, they work properly. So this is good news. Now let's fly here a little bit in altitude mode, see how this little fellow performs. Now it's not super fast, I can tell you that much, yet it's not slow. You know, it definitely, I mean, it can gain some momentum once you start flying. There's something that I can tell you right away, that the yaw rate is very slow, which is common in this sort of aircraft. But once you fly for a while, you'll see that it starts to gain momentum, and then it gets a little bit faster and faster and faster. And remember, you could also fly it FPV, you know, using your goggles. So it's pretty cool. I think, you know, beginners can fly using GPS mode, and those of you that would like perhaps a little bit more of a sporty flying, although I wouldn't really call it so, can try the altitude hold mode, which is the one I'm using over here now. Yeah, I mean, I cannot really say it's fast, but it's definitely decent. I mean, you can see it by yourself. It would be nice to maybe get a little bit of another flying mode, a little bit sort of sporty, in which the yaw rate would be a little bit faster, but that's what we get. Only two flying modes, altitude hold and GPS, and I'm currently using altitude hold, and I mean, it's performing all right. I mean, it's not super fast, but not super slow either. The next function that I want to try, yeah, you guessed right, is the auto return home function. So it's a little bit hard here to hold the camera and the transmitter at the same time, but you press for a few seconds the button that has a house icon, and I'm not sure if you can see the aircraft there. It's kind of small, but you can probably see a black dot. The camera going crazy now. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for it here. So it's coming. And yeah, I pretty much can say that this function is working as well. You know, the aircraft is now on top of me. Let's wait for a few seconds. I'm sure it's about to land now. Okay, and you can actually see how the values here on the screen of the transmitter, they're changing as the aircraft starts to approach, and you can probably see an H here on the transmitter. That means that it's returning home. B means GPS mode, and I believe A is altitude hold. Okay, so here it comes, and yeah, that's pretty much within a meter from the takeoff spot. So that's pretty good for this little fellow. I mean, incredible. I'm really happy with the GPS antenna of this little aircraft, performing so well. Now let me show you what I recorded while flying. This is straight from the micro SD card that I inserted in the drone, and this video was recorded with a resolution of 720p, and I stretched it to Full HD. That's why you may feel that the quality is not very good, but actually the quality is better than what it looks here. It's just that I have to stretch the video to Full HD from 720p. So although you can see that, obviously, I'm not sure really whether this camera has any image stabilization. There's a lot of vibrations and wobbles and so on. I mean, it's not perfect, but this is what you get, and I wanted to show you that. Now here you can take a look at the FPV screen. I already showed you the OSD information. It has a lot of information here actually, and this might be good to some people, but some of you might find it too much. Now let me try to fly with the FPV goggles. Actually, it's better than to fly with the screen, because it's so bright here that I cannot really see this tiny screen. So I'm gonna be using the goggles now, and yeah, actually there's a lot of information that I can see here in the goggles. Maybe a little bit too much. I don't think I need all this information, but this is how it looks. This was recorded directly with the eShine VRD2 Pro goggles that I've been trying. Actually, very nice goggles. I'm really liking it, liking them. And yeah, I should probably have adjusted the angle of the camera a little bit differently, but I just noticed that once I started to fly. That's why I say it's important that you adjust this angle and have some idea about what you want before you start to fly. So you can see how the values change. And I'm not sure if you can see here, it says GPS. Yeah, it says GPS, but oh yeah, here I'm getting 12 satellites right now. So this is as much as you can get, I believe. I don't think it goes above 12. So I'm pretty much getting really good reception here. I'm flying now in GPS mode, and yeah, I mean, it works pretty well. I'm getting really good signal here, although, you know, I'm not flying very far. I'm not gonna do that in this first video. I'll do maybe some other videos showing you how far it can go, but in this first video I'm gonna stay here really close by. Don't want to take any risks initially, but I'll definitely test that in my next videos. So I noticed that when the aircraft is pointing towards me, the FPV signal becomes a little bit worse, but when I'm facing the rear section of the aircraft, the signal is way better. Now, something I noticed at some point, I'm not sure how I did this, but I seem to have moved a little bit the display here. You can see that the black stripe is a little bit moved. I'm not sure whether I did that with the transmitter, with the goggles. I need to check that out, whether it's possible to actually change a little bit the way this information is displayed. But then again, I'm gonna check that in my next video, because this video is already very long. It's like about 20 minutes. So yeah. Okay, let's go for the conclusions then. I think I'm really liking the Cheerson CX23, because think about it, this aircraft is under 250 grams, yet it comes fully FPV ready. It comes with a GPS antenna that allows for functions such as auto return home. It also offers auto takeoff and landing functions. And I mean, for those of you living in the United States, you get this advanced tiny aircraft. I mean, under 250 grams means that you don't actually need to register this aircraft. There are a few things, although, that I would have improved. The stability of the camera. I'm not even sure whether this camera has some image stabilization, because the image was pretty shaky as you saw in the video. Another thing that I probably would have improved is that it would be nice if you could actually change the angle of the camera while the aircraft is flying, but well, those are things or improvements that perhaps we will see in the future. I'm gonna end my video now, not to make it too long, but please drop me some comments and tell me your opinion about this aircraft. I'm liking it a lot. I think many of you definitely gonna like it, both beginners and people that have already been flying for a while. And those of you that are interested in the topic of drones and would like to see the latest reviews and news directly from China, please do not hesitate and subscribe to my channel, and remember to drop me some comments and give me thumbs up if this video was useful in any way to you. I hope to see you all in my next video.